Okay, so the topic of this seminar is renewable energy hot topics. You know, you can have all kinds of different names, but the crux of it all is we're going to learn about renewable energy. And actually, before we take a dive into the specific renewable energies, and there's a multitude of proven ones that we're going to cover, spend and dwell on, and get in depth of. But before we do that, we are going to warm you up on some basic information on energy and the non-renewable energy as well. The reason for that is that when you take on a renewable energy project, unless somebody's already made a decision to go forward with it and all you're doing is implementing it, unless you're in that situation, you know, you would need to basically justify the why you're basically taking on that particular renewable energy project, and so the justification will in most cases be relative to what? Relative to the grid, the power that is energy that is currently available from the grid or from the existing network of utilities. Because ultimately somebody will ask, you know, why are you spending, you know, a couple of $1 million or whatever it might be, depending upon the scale of your project, on this renewable project when you can get the energy from the grid? You know, why the change? And so that's why I said some corporations, you know, the decision is made at the very top that they are going to do it, so you don't really have any justification. There's no need for justification. The decision is already made. But when I was in the corporate world, we had to justify any project that we did, including renewable energy projects. So we compared what the renewable energy did for us cost-wise, technologically, environment-wise, carbon footprint, you name it, with respect to all of those factors. We had to justify that and extol it and compare it to the energy that's available from the established grid or you know, other network of utilities, gas you know, companies, or available natural gas, or any other source of energy that might be available. Just another quick mention, we are recording this program, so you'll have a week to review the recording if you'd like. In other words, if you step away if you called away because of some kind of emergency or whatnot, and you miss a few minutes or whatever, and you know, you want to make sure you don't miss anything, you can go back to the recording and review it. But it'll come to you via a WebEx link. If you don't receive it within 24 working hours from, I'd say give it Monday, because with the weekend, I'm not. You may get it over the weekend. WebEx takes about 24 hours to make it available, and then as soon as it becomes available, we put it out there to the audience, and then it's available for a week for you to review. After that, it comes off. So, so anyway, just wanted to mention that. So, the program is being recorded, and okay. So again, a quick reminder: if you are not making a comment, don't have a comment to make or a question or whatnot, please keep your phones on mute, so that we don't have any noise infiltration into the system that might inhibit the progress of the seminar. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the program. And as I mentioned earlier, I know one or two of you maybe joined a little bit late. We are going to review some energy basics before we dive into the renewables, and there are multiple reasons for it. One of the reasons, as I mentioned earlier, is when you do a renewable project, you're doing justification of the project, technological justification or financial justification. You would have to compare it, in most cases that I know or that I've been involved in, you have to compare it to existing sources, the grid, or the gas lines, or whatever is available through existing utilities. And so it would behoove you to know, where is your energy coming from today and where is it going? So why are we going to worry about where it's going? It's because of what we call direct coupling of energy, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But the crux of that idea is that when you directly couple renewable to the end use, you maximize the efficiency of the usage of that energy and minimize the cost. So I'll cite some examples of that, and I think you'll find that interesting. Anyway, but before we jump into even the energy basics, this is the energy perspective that I share with the audience in this program, and it's actually accepted from our other sister program, the program that is kind of a conjunctive program to this one, and that is called energy conservation. Basically energy conservation in industrial, commercial type of setting, and really it applies to even institutional buildings, office buildings, or whatever. But that energy conservation program we do typically over 2 days, and we've got a couple of those scheduled the first half of this year. So look those up on our website if you have any interest in it. But that focuses mainly on conservation, and here we're going to focus on another aspect of energy, which is a source. So really, you could say that energy perspective is based on or supported by 3 pillars, and which is what I'm calling faceted energy perspective, 3 components, you might say. So one of those, the moment you talk about energy, the first thing that crops up in somebody's mind, in anybody's mind, would be conservation, meaning reduction in the use of energy. So people start, when they go shop for these LEDs, that's what they have in mind, LED type of lamps to replace their old incandescent lamps, or their maybe even fluorescence. They're basically, that's what they have in mind, this perspective. The other perspective to the energy mission in a given institution or enterprise, or something that you might want to consider as a service to the client. The other perspective or other important factor you would need to consider would be, where is the energy coming from? And that is what we're going to talk about. And so we're going to examine the grid, the existing energy sources. So we learn a little bit about where the energy is coming from, and its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, the SWOT, so that we can, when we get into our renewables, we can draw a fair and clear comparison of individual renewable energy opportunities or technologies to the existing conventional sources. So that's the energy supply perspective or facet or pillar, and that is what we're going to focus on today. Now, the third perspective you see here is something we talk more about in our energy conservation program, because what this is after you've exhausted, let's just say hypothetically, you've exhausted everything that can possibly be done to make your operations most efficient in every possible way, and you've considered every feasible source of energy. You've explored it and exhausted all of your effort in trying to make sure that you can or cannot take advantage of it. So that's done. So there's nothing else to explore in the renewable area or alternate forms of energy. Then, what else can you do? Well, you go back and look at your existing contracts, say, for example, contracts with the utility companies, the gas companies. How is everything being metered? And you'd be amazed as to some of the opportunities you might find. How is your contract set up? It's amazing how changing or tweaking of contracts can reduce your ultimate cost of energy without making any change in the energy usage or demand from the grid, or impacting anything on the supply side. So this is a purely cost type of approach, and this is it's something that I borrowed this idea and some of the information from this on this topic that you might see in here, but you see more of in our energy conservation program. It stems from a book I published titled Finance and Accounting for Energy Engineers some years ago, almost 10 years ago, due for a second edition. But anyway, and we get into case studies that illustrate how you can take the pure energy cost approach and make a substantial dent in your energy budget. So that's the three-faceted energy approach I wanted to share with you. So what are we going to cover today? Well, we're going to start off with energy basics and its various forms. We're going to talk about energy facts and statistics. Again, we don't want to look at renewables in a vacuum. I think we'd be myopic if we did that. We want to compare it to what else is out there so that we can see the true benefit or advantage of specific renewable technology over what's out there right now. So you can make that justification, make that pitch, so that for that funding that you might need for your renewable alternative investment. And then we're going to look at we're going to spend at least an hour and a half on this. Maybe even a little bit more, but then we'll get into our proven renewable energy systems, dive into the specific renewable technologies, better informed and ready to see the advantages of some of the renewables, or in some cases disadvantages. We don't want to delude ourselves to think that or follow our passion. Oh, I just like wind turbines, and I'll love to put one at my house or just behind our facility or factory or whatever, because I've heard so many good things. Well, you really can't do that. You've got to compare it to, first of all, you got to examine and see if it's even feasible. Will it even produce enough energy? Are you even in the proper wind classification area? And we'll show you those maps, what they look like. And then after all of that is done, you then compare it with the utility. If the utility is providing you power at 4 cents, so 5 cents per kilowatt hour, and your wind turbine is providing you power, it's costing you 6 or 7 cents, I'm not sure if the corporate brass would buy it unless there are other ulterior motives.